Exactly 1 year ago today, I opened up a great debate on Facebook about evolution, and it happened this very day, April the 15th, 2020. It's now 2021, and I've not spoke about it since, but somebody did ask me to, see if I could reach out to a family who, this was a concern for them. This was an issue that had just risen up. And I thought, I'll come up with like loads of videos. I'll look at the age of the Earth. I'll look at the issue of did we come from apes. I'll look at the whole dinosaur issue. I'll do a separate video on absolutely everything. And I just decided, you know what? Let me just throw it all out there in one video right today, and we'll see how we get on. It's going to be completely off the top of my head, so if I jump around from topic to topic, then do forgive me. But here we go. What should we start? Well, the thing about evolution is the hero to evolution is time. Time is the hero of the plot if you are an evolutionist, because people think that as long as you can imagine billions and billions of years having passed, then anything's possible. Anything's possible. Now, first of all, can I just say that is just not the case at all. If I just arrange some watch parts on my worktop and or even throw them into a tumble dryer and put it on spin for millions and millions of years and billions of years, it's never gonna arrange into a watch, a fully working watch, is it? And likewise, if you just put like cells, amino acids and all the rest of it in a test tube or in a pool and just leave it for billions and billions of years, without the DNA coding to determine exactly what that thing is gonna grow into, it's not going to develop at all. So this idea that that time is the hero is actually not the case. But if we can dispel time straight away, then we can certainly say, we haven't even got the time for these things to take place, and evolutionists do not have the time. 4.5 billion years they think the Earth is, and even given that, these things could not take place. But if I can dispel the notion that the universe is as old as what some scientists think, then straight away that also represents a huge problem to the issue of evolution. For example, I'm just going to come off these at the top of my head. I did know about 20 that I could go through. I'm just going to pick a few. I'm going to look at the very evidence of short period comets. Okay, comets are balls of ice. All right, they go past the sun. When they go past suns, they melt a little bit and produce a beautiful stream, a beautiful tail that makes it visible to the naked eye. And obviously that ball of ice is slowly melting. Every time it goes past the sun, it melts. And the issue with that is that eventually they'll just completely be melted and there will be no comets. Now, they reckon about 20,000 years for that to take place. So how can we be in a universe that's billions of years old? What about the salt content of the oceans? Every year, extra salt is added to the oceans as it comes off in minerals, runoff from rivers and rocks. Now, the current salt content is way too low to take into account millions of years, never mind billions of years. So there's that issue. Now, the erosion rates of the continents, again, the cliffs erode at such a rapid rate that, how we've got so much land on the Earth. What about the helium content of the atmosphere? Every year there's a certain amount of helium that is released from the Earth's core that escapes from the surface of the Earth and goes up into the atmosphere. And some of that is reflected off into escapes, but some of it is trapped by the atmosphere. Only a tiny amount. But if you take into consideration millions and billions of years, the planet would be polluted with far too much helium in our atmosphere. But that's not what we find. And there's many other things that I could go into. And I know that the sticking point, there's one sticking point, okay, with all this issue of time, and that is the issue of how we can see young stars in an apparently old universe. It's the issue of light speed, and how long it takes for light to reach us. So every time we point our telescope into the blackness of the universe and zoom right in, we find even more galaxies, even more stars, they're even more billions of light years away. So we have to suddenly rip up our textbooks and say, actually, it's even older than we thought. And this just keeps going on and on and on. Unless, of course, you take into account other theories like Einstein's theory of relativity or the time dilation theory. There's really massive physics books that you can read which explain how this can be, how we can see these stars in this, and gravity distorts things and all the rest of it. And so the thing is this: would you throw away the tons and tons of information that suggests that this Earth is young for the sake of one thing that suggests that it is old? And the answer is no. You'd go with the weightier evidence and you try and come up with a reason for why we can see stars in our universe so far away. That's what you do, wouldn't you? You take the weight of evidence and you try and come up with a reason for this, rather than saying, right, because of this, you know, we're going to completely ignore all of this. All right? And in any case, you know, when you look out there into the stars and the universe, there's a huge problem for scientists that they do not have an answer for. I mean, they'll come up with answers, but they seem to be quite fanciful. But some things they just don't have an answer at all. And this is one of the things that they do not have an answer for. And it's the fact that we have spiral galaxies in our universe. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a spiral galaxy. It's got spiral arms on it. You can see ours, you can see other spiral galaxies, and you can still see the distinctive arms spiraling around. Now, they reckon after 5 rotations of those galaxies, those spiral galaxies, you would not be able to see the distinctiveness of their arms. You know how the stars are clustered together in arms bound by the gravitational forces of them. After 5 rotations, they would just be like a disk of stars. You wouldn't see the spiral arms. Do you know how long it would take for 5 rotations? 1.2 million years. And that represents a huge problem. So you see, we don't have the time for evolution to take place. Okay, you can't sweep everything under a carpet called time and say, oh yeah, we're given enough time, anything could happen randomly. It just can't. And we don't have the time in any case. Well, I hope you enjoyed part 1. I know I said I was going to do a super long video, but a phone call put paid to that and interrupted me. So I think it's probably best that we do it in separate parts. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll look at more issues to do with evolution. And I trust you'll be blessed by it and informed, and you'll make the right decision about what is the truth. Blessings. See you on the next one.